tonight we're gonna make love. You know how I know? Because it's Wednesday. And Wednesday night is the night that we usually make love. Monday night is my night to cook. Tuesday night we go and visit your mother. But Wednesday we make sweet weekly love. It's when everything is just right. There's nothing good on TV. You haven't had your after-work social sports team practice, so you're not too tired. Oh, it's all on. You lean in and whisper something sexy in my ear like, I might go to bed now, I've got work in the morning. I know what you're trying to say, girl. You're trying to say, oh yeah, it's business time. It's business time. It's business. It's business time. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say it's time for business. It's business time. Ooh, it's business. It's business time. Oh, yeah. Then went in the bathroom, brushing our teeth. That's all part of the foreplay. I love foreplay. A shake, a shake, a shake, a shake, a shake, a shake. Ow, ow, ow. And you sort out the recycling. That isn't part of the foreplay process, but it is still very important. Next thing you know,
oh yeah, everybody, welcome in. You know what time it is. It is business time. It is a short intro today. We have a jam-packed show, and we just have to get into it. NFL free agency is going wild. The boys and Scotty Scheffler are dropping dimes, and Jeffrey is on his flu game today. Jeffrey, game 6, how are we feeling?
Yeah, it was, so I will say the real flu game was Sunday. Sunday, I woke up and text. It was funny. I text our good friend Ian Z's like, hey man, I think I came down with the flu. Yada yada yada. Any shot that you wanna swap with me and maybe work something out. Maybe you can come in and work for me tonight. It's supposed to be really busy. You'll probably make great money, so on and so forth. And then I saw about 30 seconds later there was a text to the group from Ian. Does anybody want to go to Bay Hill today? And he never responded to me. He still hasn't, by the way, which is amazing in its own right, which is fine. We're all grown adults here. And so then I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and take myself to work. I don't feel well. I'm not really sure what it is. I think I probably had the flu. I have body aches, chills, very shallow breathing. There was a lot going on. And so I went to work and I killed it, 28 covers at one time. And listen, all you're going to be like, listen, I work at Boathouse. I don't care. Okay. So imagine if you had, 3 8 tops and a 4 top at one time. Okay. And you had the flu and you're supposed to be given Michelin starred service. Okay.
I think you just gave the flu. I think it is impressive that you just gave the flu to 28 people.
I thought it was great too.
Super spreader. Your camera is experiencing some issues all of a sudden.
My camera?
Yeah. We're gonna power through it though. We're gonna power through it.
I hope so.
Just super blurry. That's all right. But yes, please continue. I don't know if it's something that you can fix on your end. I don't know if it's a bit rate issue. It does seem no, it's definitely not clearing up. That's okay though. You look great, dude. It looks like you got one of those Instagram model filters on.
Let me see if I can actually put an Instagram model filter on it. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, I don't know. But he did push through. And the funny thing about that story is I ended up going to Bay Hill with Ian. And the funny, even the more, I don't know if this one's even funny or not. This one's actually kind of sad. Is I bought a ticket and I didn't even need it. We literally walked right in, right off of 15.
Well, you guys got there so late.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. I wish that I would not have bought a ticket. So, note to self, Sunday afternoon, the boys are going to the Arnold Palmer next time.
How was it? How was the tournament itself? I mean, it looked packed, but I don't know.
It was okay. It wasn't that busy. Well, the problem was we got in, we had a beer, we watched a little bit on 18, and then we moved to the Grey Goose Lounge there between 18, 16, and 17, I think it is, or whatever it is. And then we happened to run into one Chris Farinacci. And he proceeded to monopolize our entire time. We literally watched zero golf. Yeah, that was about it.
I will say this is that I've met a lot of people in my life, and I'm usually a very firm believer in karma. But some people you meet and you know the type of person and that they are, and then you see the life that they're rewarded with, and it makes you question karma sometimes. He's one of those people.
If anybody knows that,
I've never in my life met a bigger piece of shit that is just super successful. But maybe that's what it takes. Who knows? Never be there.
Well, let's get into it here. Blurry face and all. NFL free agency is rocking and rolling. The Bucs are re-signing their players. The Bears are re-signing free agents. And guess what? There's still no movement. Let's get into it first. Jeffrey, let's talk about the Tampa Bay NFC South champions, Buccaneers. We re-signed Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield, Levante David, and Chase Edmonds. Appears the Bucs are 100% ready to just run it back. Concerns? Any concerns about any of the signings? Any concerns that we're not adding any new pieces? Or any concerns that we're just simply going to run it back next year?
I love that you're still using the term "we," and you're still.
I'm saying we. I'm not. I take that. I'm saying we is in form of a show because it's definitely not we anymore.
Okay, you're completely out. Even if Kyle Trask ends up, sticking with the Bucs and being a career backup, a la Chase Daniel.
I'll tell you this. I truly believe that Baker Mayfield signing a 3-year contract helps Kyle Trask the most. If they don't draft another quarterback, which everybody's kind of expecting them to do in this draft, because there's no way Baker Mayfield goes another year without missing games. There's no way.
Yeah, listen, I do the contract. I love the terms of it. I thought it would be kind of like a Geno Smith contract. It seems like that's exactly what it is. 3 years, $100 million, $50 million guaranteed, which is not a lot in today's NFL. Seems like a very team-friendly deal. He's got Mike Evans to come back with now. The only thing that we asked for as Bucs fans was we wanted Levante David, right? We got Levante David. We wanted Antoine Winfield Jr. They're going to work out a long-term deal. Last piece of this entire puzzle. And listen, they re-signed Chase Edmonds. Fine. They're going to draft a running back in this draft to be the RB2. That's pretty obvious. Chase Edmonds is not going to be RB2. He'll be an RB3, maybe a third down back here and there. The last thing that we want as Bucs fans is re-sign Tristan Wirfs for as long as we possibly can. If we can re-sign Tristan Wirfs for 15 years, at $30 million, I don't care what it is. We want Tristan Wirfs on our team for as long as we possibly can. Let's go ahead and try to work that out and get it done. Please and thank you. Really appreciate you.
I think one of the biggest problems that I've seen just now, which I don't think that does this include Baker Mayfield? Yeah, $14 million, $14.8 million in cap space. I do believe that does. No, it doesn't.
Let's talk about the other. There was also another huge move the Buccaneers made as well, too, and that was trading Carlton Davis. The number one corner on the team, a guy who's been there for a long time, was going to the last year of his deal, was slated to make $14 million this year. They end up flipping Carlton Davis to the Detroit Lions. I think it's a great fit for both teams. Jamel Dean ends up being able to stick and now be the number one corner there, who Bucs fans have loved for a long time. Ends up getting to be the number one corner there. But also, you get Carlton going to a place like Detroit where he got absolutely smoked last year by Amon-Ra St. Brown over and over again in the second half of that football game. Bucs fans have had a very love-hate relationship with Carlton Davis. I don't know how to describe it. I appreciate Carlton for all that he did for Tampa. I think he was a great piece of our defense. I've been more of a Jamel Dean guy the entire time, and for $14 million, you can save in cap space and also gain a third-round pick. And they also gave up a fifth and a seventh in consecutive years in 25 and 26, along with Carlton Davis. However, I think it's a really good deal for Tampa to garner a third-round pick in there as well, too.
So I do have to ask, right? Because obviously free agency is going to be one thing, right? I mean, there's definitely pieces that you can add during free agency. But, coming off a 31-14 loss to the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
There's no concerns that this team is going. Do we say that that's just a cohesiveness because it was Baker's first year with this team in the offense?
Who's coming off of a 31-14 loss to the Cowboys?
The Buccaneers.
We lost to the Lions.
Well, I have this on. This is 20. I'm sorry. This is 2023. So
yeah. Welcome to the uninformed fan.
Welcome to the uninformed fan, everybody. Yes.
We lost to the Lions, and we lost 31-23. I believe was the final.
31-23, absolutely, yes.
So yeah, so and we had the ball to make a game-winning drive. Unfortunately, Baker throws a pick there at the very end in heartbreaking fashion. And if you remember correctly, Todd Bowles decided not to call timeouts at the very end of that game as well, too, which would have given us the ball back or at least forced them to kick a 54-yarder, which they had already missed earlier in the game. So yeah, there's a lot going into it. Do I mind running it back? No, this is the first year under the tutelage of Baker Mayfield. Todd Bowles, obviously you got a new OC, but these are
Baker Mayfield.
yeah. Listen, he seems to be a locker room guy that they all love. I'm cool with it. Run it back. Let's see what happens another year. I don't know. I want to see the end contract, what the out is for Tampa, if the out is at year 2. Or if it's even after year 1. I know there is $50 million guaranteed. I'm not sure the exact details of the contract itself because
I would have to believe it's at least 2 years locked.
It can't be signed until, March 13th or whatever it is. So it'll be very
interesting to see
what happens with that. Is today the first day of the league new year?
Well, today's the 13th.
Okay, so I think we have 4:00 or something like that. Is whenever usually it's 2 or 4:00. Or something like that when the new league year begins. We'll see final details on contracts as well, too. So, listen, I don't have a problem running it back. No, I think you're in a situation now in the division where it seems to be some teams are getting more competitive. Some teams are completely tearing it down. So, we can talk about the teams that are getting a little bit more competitive as well, too, if you'd like.
Well, yeah, but before we get to the teams that are going to be competitive, let's talk about the Chicago Bears first. So, Chicago Bears go out and they pass on Josh Jacobs, which to me was a little concerning, just considering what Josh Jacobs did in in Vegas with, let's just call it what it is, a very lackluster offense. And he was still be able to produce, not so much last year, but the year before that, he put up some great numbers. He had interest in the Chicago Bears. And this is just another one to me where it looked like it was kind of a no-brainer. And for what the difference between DeAndre Swift signed between him, it wasn't that big of a deal, wasn't that much money, and especially with the Bears. And then the Bears pass on him. And what happens? Our NFC North rivals, the team that owns us, scoops him up immediately. That tells me right then and there that I was right, because Packers seem to get it right all of the time. They just do. I hate it. They just do. I don't understand it. So we did sign DeAndre Swift. Now, I really thought, when you look at letting David Montgomery go, who produced great last year behind the Detroit Lions, I thought that was a bad move to let him go. And then to bring in somebody very similar contract. It's a $2 million difference per contract, $8 million versus $10 million. And then to bring somebody in that comes off of arguably one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. You're going to put up some great numbers, right? I mean, you're going to put up good numbers behind that line between the Hall of Famer Kelsey, all of the stuff that they did, the tush pushes, that was all offensive line driven. And then he comes to Chicago where the offensive line sucks. I mean, and you can say all you want about the talent of a running back. They need an offensive line. When you have holes the size of a Mack truck, Derrick Henry can fit through there and not be touched. That is going to elevate a running back game. So this one, everybody's praising it about, he's in his prime and this, that, and I have a little reservations on this one. I just thought you had Khalil Herbert, who obviously got hurt, and then you drafted Roschon Johnson, who had some great sparks last year. I thought that we have other needs elsewhere than signing another running back. So now we're going to run it back with a 3-headed monster. Deontay Foreman produced absolutely amazing last year for the Chicago Bears. And he's just gone. Right? We're just not even going to think about him. But when you put the workload on him, when both running backs were hurt, what did he do? Nothing but produce behind a shit line. So that one to me was a little concerning. I don't really understand why we targeted him. Maybe it will reveal itself in the end. I don't know. I'm not in the room. So if I was, I'd have a lot more information. But I don't know. But that one kind of brought my attention a little bit. And then of course we did lock up Jalen Johnson, which is a deal that I guess had to be done. I mean, I don't know. To me, these guys, I don't know. But he actually did take a little bit less money than he was originally commanding, so that's good. Considering he went over 20 million, he did sign for like 18. So I guess that's good. We did just sign Gerald Everett, the tight end that's coming out of the Chargers. He has some connections with Shane Waldron, had some great productivity in Seattle. So, and he is a tight end 1. So, you're basically pairing them up with Cole Kmet. So now you have 2 legitimate tight ends. We're not talking about Jimmy Graham at the end of his years. We're not talking about Robert Tonyan, who just got released by the Packers, which once again, I'm going to say it again. If the Packers release somebody, there's a reason. But we're also going to get into somebody else. I think that, that's going to be good. All right. So obviously the Bears are going to target wide receivers in this draft to pair up with DJ Moore. So the offense is coming together. I'm still concerned about the offensive line. We haven't had any real big offensive line signings. We did sign Kevin Byard, was a safety out of Colts, who's kind of been a journeyman over the past few years.
Titans.
And then
he was with the Titans. Not really a journeyman. He's been an all-pro.
He came from the Colts.
He didn't come from the Colts. He came from the Eagles. He was with the Eagles. He got traded mid-season last year as a little playoff push for Philly. Kevin Byard is a big time dude. And so I wouldn't just brush that off as just a whatever signing. Kevin Byard is a guy. He was a really good with Tennessee. I think it's one of your best signings that you had. I think it just continues to make a defense that was already good even better. And I think if you're going to lean on one side of that ball, that's going to be the side that you lean on. I love the Kevin Byard signing. I thought it's one of the best ones that I've seen this year.
And I do apologize. I read it because they were talking about Matt Eberflus's when he was the Colts defensive coordinator was seeing him twice a year from the Titans. You're absolutely right. My apologies. This is why we are the underscore him. Sure. And definitely with the price. 2-year, $15 million deal. Very friendly, very team friendly. I think that's a good one, as well as I was getting ready to say. And then probably one of the best ones, Jonathan Owens. I don't care if he doesn't play very well. 2-year, $4.5 million. And with Jonathan Owens comes Chicago's own Taylor Swift and Simone Biles. She's already tweeting, love Chicago, pizza, hot dogs, count me in. One of the best places to live. Welcome to the Windy City, Simone and company. I appreciate it.
Is it one of the best places to live? I don't know. I mean, probably a nice place to visit. I don't know.
I mean, it just depends on where you live. And if you have money like this, Chicago is your oyster. It's just pretty much like $2 million
a year money in Chicago.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Plus, obviously, Simone has her own millions. He has millions from prior. Yes, they're going to do just fine in there. They're going to do just fine.
What does she make millions from?
Olympics, advertisements, marketing deals, things of that nature. And then, of course, to end it up. So to recap, just the Bears signing so far. We haven't made a whole lot of splashes. We've secured some things. I'd still like to see them target some offensive linemen. We do have a bunch of offensive linemen that are still on the table. I don't know how good they are because, I mean, who really, gets into the offensive linemen? Not me. But the biggest thing is, of course, Justin Fields is still a Chicago Bear at this point in time. As we discussed a little bit in the pre-show, Ryan Poles is playing an amazing game of whatever he's playing because nobody knows what he's doing. Nobody. And to watch the mainstream media just continue to pivot back and forth, it's absolutely awesome. I love it. They're losing their minds. They have no idea what's happening, and he is not showing his hand. He's not tipping his cards. I will say this. Justin Fields still being on this team right now tells me that Ryan Poles is not sold on a quarterback yet in this draft. And as Jeff kind of pointed out in the pre-show, that is a problem. You should have be able to make these decisions because the longer that you wait, as is described to anybody else, the less trade value that you are going to have for Justin Fields. As we get ready to get into, we're going to get into right after the Bears, the quarterback carousel of all of these teams that were projected to possibly be interested in Justin Fields have all signed quarterbacks. And the league, consensus is Justin Fields is going to be a backup quarterback. He will not be a starter in the NFL. Now, to me, that's absolutely wild because if you've seen his talent if he would have had proper coaching. And I can't remember who I saw on Get Up yesterday. Maybe it was Damian Woody. I don't want to misquote, but he actually nailed it on the head. He goes, I'm absolutely tired of coaches saying I need this person to fit in my system. The whole thing about coaching is that you bring out the talents. And this is what I also heard from someone else saying about Caleb Williams. If you draft Caleb Williams and he's a bust, it's because your organization is a bust and you don't know how to develop young quarterbacks and build a system to excel their talents. Well, guess what? If he goes to Chicago, that's exactly what's going to happen, because we have no ability to develop a quarterback. If you look at Justin Fields, if you could teach him to get through his progressions, that's all he's missing. That's it. I saw an amazing highlight video somebody posted. Chicago Bears Twitter is also just off the rails this past month. I saw, they're posting about, because Chicago is really split. It's really split. This is not going to go good either way for Chicago. If they draft Caleb Williams, half the fan base is going to be pissed off. If they keep Justin Fields, half the fan base is going to be pissed off. And then there's a whole nother, I guess you might as well call them thirds, a third of the fan base that just wants it to be over. They just want to move on. But Justin Fields has the talent for them to not be able to fix his progressions. Oh, back to that highlight reel. I watched all of this, put together this 5-minute reel of Justin Fields just dropping bombs to Olave and everybody on Ohio State. And it was very, very clear to me. I watched this entire 5-minute video. And guess what? All of these plays, all of these spectacular throws, he never looked away. It was the number one read. He never had to scan the field. He never had to progress. All of his highlight reels. And if you go back to DJ Moore as well, with all of the highlights that they put together, if you look at it, it was his number one read. He never looked away whatsoever. And when I said it last year, I said, if you take away his number one read, what happens? So for them not to be able to do that, it's crazy. I still think the Bears trade the number one pick. I do. I think that the Commanders want Caleb Williams more than the Bears do. I think we're 100% in a draft day situation. And I got news for you guys. I have inside information. I hope everybody's ready for this. Please get ready to clip this information. This is something that has never been said on any program so far. I have inside sources. This is 100% factual. There is no debate about this. Be sure to clip it. It's going to go viral. I have inside news. Nobody went to Caleb Williams' 21st birthday party. Not one of his teammates. Do with that what you will, because we are in a full draft day scenario right here. It's going to happen. Watch. If the Commanders don't take him, and if the Bears don't take, he is going to drop. He's going to drop like a rock. That's just the way it's going to be. It's an issue. So what that
I couldn't disagree with you more on every single point. I think that the Bears are definitely drafting Caleb Williams. I think Justin Fields will be traded for a bag of socks if that's what you're going to be able to get by the time it comes down to it.
If that was the solidified plan, all of these teams, and then it comes out from Adam Schefter that says the Bears have not shopped Justin Fields once. They have not been
on the market, and Ryan Poles is expecting people to reach out to him. So
wouldn't that be shopping? Shopping to me, like the Adam Schefter that when he was on there said the Bears have not been actively shopping Justin Fields.
Let me ask you a question. If you own a storefront, right, and you put a mannequin out front, okay, and you say, listen, here's this mannequin where this outfit is for sale, right? And most people who walk by are like, oh, well, okay, that outfit has a little appeal to it. I could see how it could work. What's the price tag on the outfit? And then you look at the price tag in the corner and you're like, holy shit, I don't want that outfit. And you keep moving. Why would you even walk in the store?
Okay, but then that would mean that they're inquiring about him. We have nothing
inquiring. They're walking by. They see what the price tag is. They don't need to go ask.
How do you know what the price tag is?
You've already made it.
The only thing that has come out about a price tag about Justin Fields is what the media has speculated. Nobody said that. Has Ryan Poles or anybody that from a front league office come out and said, we inquired about Justin Fields and he wants a first rounder or a second rounder?
The story was that Pittsburgh felt like they were being shopped against themselves, which is probably true considering where we're at right now.
Okay, but who broke that story?
Poles, you say that Ryan Poles hasn't played his hand yet. You're correct. He has not played his hand. He held on to his cards for way too long. You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. You got to know when to walk away. He has not played the game. He has sat there and held his hands and not done anything with it. That's the issue. You don't think that he could have gotten rid of Justin Fields for a third-round pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Do you think
so? Why would they do that now? They have Russell Wilson. Why would the Falcons do anything? Why would the Patriots?
The Falcons were all in on Kirk Cousins.
I'm sure there could have been something there for the Falcons.
Well, if that is the case that you're talking about, right?
I know that you love Ryan Poles, but I'm saying he has.
I'm not talking about Ryan Poles. I'm saying that whatever he is planning, he has disguised it absolutely perfectly that nobody knows what the fuck he's doing. That's what I'm saying. Do you know what he's doing? Because I don't. I would imagine
Ryan Poles know what he's doing is the problem, and that's a no.
Here we go. Does Ryan Poles know what he's doing? I don't know. We'll figure it out. I don't think that you're going to see anything. I don't know. There's rumors that he's going to trade the number 1 pick and trade Justin Fields at the same time and draft a completely different quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of shit going down here. And like I said, so the latest on this is that the Chicago Bears will be going to the USC Pro Day on 3/20, I apologize. 3/20 of this month. And then 3/30, Caleb Williams is coming to Chicago for in-person interviews on the 30th.
Well, hopefully you said in-personal?
Yes, in person.
Hopefully they are personal.
Yeah. Well, he's coming to it. I just think there's some red flags here. You know that I think his father is my biggest issue. Not Caleb Williams' talent.
Can't do this.
But, it's also come out that his father tried to bypass the rookie contract so Caleb could sign a record-setting deal on day one. That is a fact. I'm telling you, whatever he is going to come with a lot of fucking baggage. That's all. Now, whether that's enough to win Super Bowls, I don't know. I still think that the Bears are further away than one quarterback as far as being a Super Bowl contender. And with the moves that the Green Bay Packers are continuing to do, which we're about to get in, I think I like the Packers to go all the way this year, but we'll get into that. Any closing thoughts that you'd like to berate me on before we move on in regards to this?
No offense to a podcast, a small podcast like us, but I like to get my information from people like Mina Kimes. You know what I mean? And I hear these stupid fucking radio jockeys talking about Caleb Williams' dad and how he's really negatively affecting the process and he's a red flag and he makes Caleb Williams a red flag. And it's like not one NFL team that any of these super duper locked in insiders has talked to has heard one negative thing about that. This is all fucking made up fodder by people who want fucking clicks. And I'm over it.
So if it does come out, would you be okay?
If Mina Kimes or Adam Schefter or Ian
Rappaport do you think Bleacher Report is a reputable source?
Absolutely not.
What about Sports Illustrated?
Depending on who it is.
Okay. I'm just going to click down here. What about Pro Football Network? What about Fox Sports?
I just gave you a few instances of.
Okay, so you just wanted a few people. Okay.
Who unless they say something, I am not taking anything that anybody else says because these are all networks that are based off of what?
I don't know.
Clicks. All they want is traffic driven to their page because they have the gotcha story of whatever it is. And I listen, whatever. Do your thing, get your money, whatever it is.
So I'll just put this last
go ahead
one
and
out.
do it. But unless I hear it from an insider like that, I don't.
This is from a New York Football Giants insider. Okay, insider.
Please don't tell me it's the same Twitter.
What?
We always get these fucking stupid stories from.
I don't know. Caleb Williams' father allegedly told potential agents he wanted to circumvent the CBA and have his son be exempt from a rookie contract when drafted to sign a record-breaking deal.
Okay.
Wild if true. That's all.
Why is that wild?
Because you're trying to circumvent what every other player has to go through.
If you were a father of a player, okay, and you had a kid who since the 7th grade has been rated number 1 overall as the quarterback, who is coming out, who won the Heisman Trophy, who has been lauded as the number 1 pick his entire college career, but also been the number 1 quarterback in high school his entire career as well too. Do you think that he should be slotted into the same things that these other players are, or no?
Jeffrey, I don't know if you know this or not, but inadvertently you're actually feeding into my argument. And what you just said would give life to all of these stories about him wanting to circumvent things, about being an NFL owner.
My question is, why is that even a red flag?
Because it's not possible. There's rules against it.
And who cares? Wow, like a red flag is like Caleb Williams.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So you said that the Bears should draft Caleb Williams to reset the rookie timer. You just said earlier
drinks vodka. That's a fucking red flag.
Let me finish. Let me finish. You said that the Bears
not a fucking red flag.
It is. You said the Bears should draft Caleb Williams to reset the rookie contract to get back to lower numbers. And then on the other hand, you're saying, yeah, he should try to rewrite the contract so he gets $50 million a year as a rookie.
He should 100% ask for it, Tyson.
You can't. That's the CBA. You're asking the CBA to make one player exempt?
If they say no, they say no. What does it matter?
Because what does it matter? This is the precedent that you're setting right now. You're setting the precedent right now that the rules don't apply to my son. My son, whether it's right or not, my son is a God prodigy that shouldn't be in any of the same contracts of any other player that has ever been into the NFL football league. He should be in his own category. He should have his own set of rules in his own contract. That is a precedent.
About any player ever. We're talking about.
Yes, we are.
After Sam Bradford, they reset the entire scale. Okay.
Yeah, because
so there's a lot of precedent before that. Okay. So we're not talking about something that's never been done before.
It hasn't been done since the rules changed, and his father is asking, or allegedly, hey, let's rewrite the rules again for my son because he's better than everyone else. Okay, that's all. That is a fact. Okay, so he's asking for his son to have special treatment, preferential treatment. Then when you tag that in with the NFL ownership and stuff, it's going to be a problem. And I think it's just going to be a problem when whoever drafts him, whether it's the Bears or everybody. I think that this is where you see after year 2 or 3, he's going to hold out. He's going to hold out. There's no doubt in my mind. Chicago. And when somebody wants 70 million, by the time that he gets there, it's going to be 70, 80 million dollars. And when you put a quarterback for 70 or 80 million dollars, I cannot wait to see all of the other casualties.
Saying that something is going to happen without even beginning the process of it.
All you haven't even take the information.
That's all. Watching the kid at the combine, of interviewing him and having him in. And yet
the same person who also in the first history of the NFL refused all medicals.
Don't draft him. Red flags everywhere. This is an absolutely bad idea.
All I'm saying, Chicago, I don't care if they draft him or not.
Stop.
He's also the first player in the NFL combine history to refuse all medicals. First in the history. That's a fact. Okay. So
Tyson,
all medical.
The teams that he is going to go to that have a potential to draft him, is he going to do medicals for them?
I don't know.
He is. Okay.
How do you know?
Does he need to do a medical for all 32 teams?
It's not like you're doing a medical.
Why?
What does it matter?
Did he sit there and answer questions from everybody during the entire combine? Absolutely.
Questions don't matter to me.
What
if
about
you're going to put that kind of money and that kind of investment,
and all these other quarterbacks that didn't do shit, but we don't.
I'm not talking about throwing. I don't care about that. You've got enough on tape. I don't care about anything talent wise. But to be the first person to deny a medical examination or something of that nature, when, to your point and my point, is the amount the amount of investment that is going to happen in this, or if somebody does decide to trade up, you don't know. Like, so what about the Giants sitting way down there? What if they put together a haul to get them? You know, these are just things. All I'm saying is whatever smoke is out there, you couple it with the things that have happened. I just think he's a diva. That's all. And I'm entitled to that, right? He still can be a great football player and be a fucking diva. We saw it with Bo Callahan. It's the same fucking thing.
Do you think Patrick Mahomes is a diva?
No.
No?
Not at all.
You don't think Patrick Mahomes yells at referees and complains
about
about
being a diva. That's being passionate.
Okay. All right.
That's not being a diva. Right. Being a diva would say, hey, this guy needs this guy's gone, or I'm not playing unless you do this, 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 or this. It's a situational by situational thing, but absolutely, I don't think Patrick Mahomes is a diva. And Patrick Mahomes, I just saw today, reworked his contract again to free up another $20 million in cap space.
This whole
he also took a little bit less money
of reworking a contract. Like most of the time, when fans see this, they're like, "Oh, you reworked your contract, dude. Thanks so much." You realize that they're just taking the money up front, right? They're not like actually,
doesn't matter,
or they're taking on the back end. They're still getting the same amount of money. They're not.
Not when you figure in taxes. When you pile it all before, you're going to get taxed more. But I mean, I understand that. It doesn't have to be done. They could say, "No, I'm good. Leave my contract the way it is." I mean, they could say that. There's been many players that done that.
It was like, listen, guys, like stop thanking me for restructuring my deal. All it did was give me the money up front. Like, I'm not a hero. Okay,
hey, I'm
getting all my money.
You're still getting all your money. You just got to pay a little bit more taxes. That's all. You know what I want to see? You know what I really want to see? You know, and say what you want about the guy, Tom Brady. I fucking love that guy. Not as you know, as long as he's played in the NFL. But again, the highest money he ever took was $25 million because he wanted to surround himself with the best talent. That's all I'm saying is when you get to guys that are going to want to reset the market every time, and they're going to demand that, I think it hinders your team in the long run. That's all I'm saying. If you have one guy that's going to take 70% of the cap space or 60% of the cap space, it's very tough for one person to win. Now, Patrick Mahomes has proven day in and day out, or game in and game out, that it doesn't matter who you surround him with, as long as you have him with Kelsey. I mean, he produces, right? I mean, he won another Super Bowl.
What's the cap? What's the salary cap?
I don't know. I think it's $220 million this year.
230, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, Jeremy?
I think the highest paid
30?
Quarterback is what, $60 million?
Okay. So if it's $230 million, all right, and you're telling me that Tom Brady in today's NFL would have continued
26%.
Would continue to have taken $25 million a year, that's not factual.
It would have been 28-30 by now. But it's still, he's not out there asking for 60-65.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. He came out publicly and said it. He's like, listen, I'm going to go for this because I want money to go around to be able to surround myself with great players. And in football, yes, the quarterback is definitely the most important position, but you have to have people to throw it. We've talked about this numerous times about, well, who's the number one, who's the number two receivers? Well, the number one receiver is getting $30 million a year if you want a good one. There's just a lot of other factors. You have to have a good offensive line. You have to have a good defense.
Of receivers, did you see that Darnell Mooney moved on to the Atlanta Falcons?
I did. Good for him. I think moving on. Let's just move that on. Let's transition that in. And actually, before we do that, I'd like to go back to the quarterbacks first. So let's talk about the quarterback carousel, and then we're going to get into Moody. Kirk Cousins signing with the Atlanta Falcons, 4 years, $180 million. You know, the biggest thing out of this is I love the mainstream media, because if you talk about them like 2 or 3 years ago, we talk about how Kirk Cousins has fleeced the NFL as one of the highest paid mediocre quarterbacks that has ever lived. And now the Falcons all of a sudden are now contenders, right? Because of Kirk Cousins. I think this is an absolute great move for the Atlanta Falcons. I think that this puts them, as the favorite of the NFC South. All due respect with the Bucs. I think that the offensive weapons are just younger and more viable. That's all. And of course, obviously everyone's valuing Kirk Cousins over Baker Mayfield, even though Baker put together a hell of a season last year. I think if you're an Atlanta fan, you got to be super happy about this. And as your point, you had Darnell Mooney in there as well. Darnell Mooney, you know, he he did really produce in Chicago, but let's be honest, nobody produced in Chicago during that time. I'm happy that he got some money out there. I think that the Atlanta Falcons now are absolutely loaded. Absolutely loaded on offense with Kirk Cousins, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. You got Darnell Mooney. I don't know who their second receiver is. Obviously, the Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson. I mean, they got some pieces, you know, and it's. I think if you're a Atlanta fan, you got to be smelling roses right now.
Absolutely, yeah. And listen, they were. We kept on saying last year they needed a quarterback to be able to compete, and they didn't have one. You can't go out there with Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke and expect to compete. And listen, do they deserve to be favorites in the division? Well, that's for somebody else to decide. For Vegas, not for me.
Neck and neck.
But they'll probably be a pretty decent.
I think they're going to be. We got to think about what was last year. The Saints were favored, right?
Yeah, very.
And we said that we didn't know how the Bucs. I mean, we had the Bucs all year.
The Panthers were ahead of the Bucs. But yes, I was on the Bucs all year as not really a homer pick, just as a what the fuck pick. Okay, I'm sorry. We were on the Bucs all year, not as a homer pick, but as a what the fuck kind of a pick, which I didn't really understand. Oh, can you just?
What is he doing?
He's picking his ear. Let him pick his ear. Okay, he's yawned twice. He doesn't. I'm keeping an eye on him. All right,
keeping the blood flowing over there. Keeping the blood flowing.
At that same measure, though, as well, I think it'll take a little bit of time. And I kept on saying this. Look, Raheem Morris is not going to want to go into a situation like he did in Tampa, where he has a quarterback like a Justin Fields or a young guy who's not going to perform and he's going to be out in 2 to 3 years. So you bring in Kirk Cousins, you bring in somebody who's veteran, somebody who's going to give you a chance every single year, a reason to stick around, even if you don't perform or you have a bad year. I think it's a great move for them. I think it's a very shrewd, smart move by Raheem Morris. I think if you look at the system that's going to be run, it's always been a branch off of the McVay system that Kirk Cousins has been in, whether it was with Shanahan when he was in Washington, whether it's been with Kevin O'Connell and some other guys when he's been in Minnesota. Now, I believe the OC that they got was under McVay for the Chargers and is going to have a chance to actually have his grasp over the entire offense. It's always been a branch off of the system that he's always known. He doesn't have to learn a new language. It's going to be kind of the same thing. It's going to be a great fit. My question is you have a 38-year-old, 37-year-old, however old he is, coming off of an Achilles injury, which is not the easiest thing. He wasn't the most mobile quarterback to begin with, right? And so now you have a guy like that. How do you keep him upright? How do you keep him protected? I will still think that the Bucs should be the favorite. And I think if you're going to give Tampa Bay another year of a chip on their shoulder, telling them that they're not good enough because another team got another quarterback that's supposed to be better than what their defense provides or the weapons that they have, I think they'll go in there with a chip on their shoulder again, a la what you saw with Derek Carr last year.
We shall see. We shall see. Russell Wilson signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought that this was a great move by Pittsburgh. Why do I think Russell Wilson is going to – I think when you looked at the trade market, you looked at Justin Fields or anything else that the Pittsburgh Steelers could have gotten, you know what you're getting with Russell Wilson. And let's be honest, Russell Wilson's second half in Denver was pretty good. And if you looked at his numbers, he was definitely comparable to some of the better quarterbacks in the league on the second half. I think for 1 year, $1.2 million, this is an absolute no-brainer. I would have thought that there would have been a few more teams actually interested in him. For $1.2 million, I think that you're absolutely stealing it. Mitchell Trubisky is released, who did get signed with the Buffalo Bills, who was in the Polynesian not too long ago. Wife waited on him. Congratulations, Missy. You got your autograph on there as well. But I think this is a good move for the Steelers. Not so much long-term, but till they figure things out, right? I mean, the Steelers really Cousins will be 36, by the way. That's still relatively young.
Well, at 40 at the end of his contract.
Yeah, and then that'll probably he'll ride off in the sunset. Why wouldn't you? 100 million, dude. He brought up a stat over here as well. He's made $231 million so far before this new contract, and he has another $100 million guaranteed. Imagine that! Wow, crazy money. Congratulations. I think this is just until they figure out what they're going to do. I don't know, man. Is Kenny Pickett the answer? I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are a lot further away than just a quarterback. Defense obviously shows up as long as TJ Watt stays healthy. Can they keep those pieces together? But I still think at the end of the day, this is a great risk reward. $1.2 million. You put him up against Kenny Pickett, and regardless if Kenny Pickett wins the job or loses the job, I think Russell Wilson is probably one of the best people to be around. You know, a lot of people knock him as far as his demeanor and his calmness and, you know, his praise of God and all the things that he surrounds himself with. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for a young rookie to be around him.
Listen, we'll see if they draft somebody. I thought they already made some moves on defense that I really liked, bringing in Patrick Queen. Real quick, let me just look and see who the other ones were too, because I thought that they made some very shrewd moves that I was like, oh, well, that's a pretty good get for them. I don't mind the Russell Wilson thing. He still throws a really good deep ball. So when you talk about a guy like Pickens, I think we'll be able to benefit. They already traded Deontay Johnson, so he is now gone. He got traded to the Panthers. So you give Bryce Young a little kind of intermediate route runner guy. I think is great as well too. So Patrick Queen. Okorafor, the tackle that they got. They lost him to New England. So tough one as well. Yeah, listen, will Mike Tomlin figure it out and have another 9-8 year? We shall see. That division is just going to get tougher and tougher, I feel like.
It definitely is. Definitely is. The Las Vegas Raiders signed Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Well, I just have no words for that. I mean,
I don't care about them.
Jacoby Brissett to the New England Patriots. Sure. After getting rid of Mac Jones for a 6th round pick. Wow. And I know you're going to like this one. Jameis Winston to the Cleveland Browns. 1 year, $4 million deal.
Probably the best place to be able to go in and play, honestly. Because, Deshaun Watson's going to miss time at some point. Whether it's from a masseuse or whether it's from, getting injured or, he always has a lot of soft tissue injuries. So that's where the masseuse thing came from. Jameis already came out and said, he's like, I know I've said in my career that I want to be a starter, but I feel like God is leading me to go to the Cleveland Browns and be there to support my brother Deshaun Watson. And so, he wants to be there and be there for him and, make him the best quarterback that he can. If Deshaun goes down and they need somebody to fill in, they don't have to call Joe Flacco anymore to fly in from his ranch and wherever it is and hasn't played in a year and a half and come in and play. So
are you surprised that they didn't maybe sign him on like a 1-year deal though, after that performance of last year?
Who, Flacco?
Yeah.
No, because you can go get a guy like Jameis on the same deal, right? Which they
you don't think
1 year, $8 million or whatever.
Left?
I mean, they went and got Jerry Jeudy as well too, so they added another weapon to go along. It's going to allow Elijah Moore to play a lot more slot now. You already have Amari Cooper there, David Njoku. They had a great offensive line. If you can get Nick Chubb back, man, that team, if that team is healthy, is. It's tough because the Ravens are in that division, right? It's tough because the Ravens are in that division, but I love the Browns. Like, I love the way that they built that.
It's been a long time since anybody said that.
I love that. I know. And
do you love the Browns do you love the Browns with Deshaun Watson or with Jameis Winston?
If Deshaun can just not turn the ball over.
I think honestly, that's with any quarterback that we see.
So
just to finish up the quarterback section, a quick rundown. Tyrod Taylor goes to the Jets. Sam Darnold to the Vikings, which I thought that one was very interesting.
Might be the starter there.
Yeah, it looks like it. I think that the Vikings are going to try to draft in the quarterback as well.
Sure, they can, and that's fine. But I think that you are completely wasting a year of Justin Jefferson. And I don't know if he's going to sign up for a rebuild. And I was talking with our resident Viking fan, Colin, through a group text, and
Colleen?
Yes, and I just think that God, every time I hear it, it's terrible, but funny. I just think that it's an issue. I think it will be an issue for sure. So I would look to see what Justin Jefferson. There's some writing on the wall. There were some Instagram posts and Twitter things that were said, and between him and
I think
Jamar
he's
Chase.
gone.
He's going to get however much money he wants. And I know they can franchise tag him, but the players have most of the power nowadays. So,
yep. It's Drew Lock with the Giants. That one was interesting to me. And the final one, Marcus Mariota with, huh?
I always love Drew Lock. I do.
I think he's one of those guys. I don't know. I just like him. And then Marcus Mariota signs with the Commanders. So that gives Sam Howell and Marcus Mariota in that quarterback room.
Perfect.
If they make no moves. Again, I just like I love Marcus Mariota in here for the Commanders. I really do. Regardless if it's Sam Howell or if they traded or if it's Jaden Daniel or anybody, I love Marcus Mariota as the Chase Daniels type, right? To give that support. I feel like that we fail rookie quarterbacks in their development because they always go to the shit teams, right? They always go to the bottom of the barrel and they get wasted. They turn over coaches because it doesn't happen right away. I think Marcus Mariota is the best thing for the Commanders, regardless of who is the starter. I think that that's the kind of veteran leadership that you want in the Commanders. I think the Commanders are making some really good sneaky moves here. We'll see if they go for Caleb or not. I still think that they do try to get him, whether to your point, the polls asking price is going to be too much. I don't know, but I really feel like that they made some really good moves here.
I think there was a few moves that the Commanders made that to me are very under the radar, but are incredibly sneaky and good. I have them right now at number 3 in terms of, actually, I have them at number 2 in terms of best free agents periods so far. The guys that they got, dude, Frankie Louvu is a monster who came out of Carolina. Great pickup right there. You get Austin Eckler on a super cheap deal. Brandon McMahon is underrated, right? Great kicker, always solid. You always need that. Dante Fowler Jr. as well. Zach Ertz goes there. Jeremy Chin, the safety out of Carolina as well, who was really good for 2 years. And then last year they went to this different D coordinator and they tried to use it in a bunch of different positions and it didn't really work as a Swiss Army knife. Let the kid play where he wants to play at safety. Stop trying to move him down in the box every time. I think arrows up. Arrows up.
I think you got to feel good if you're the Commanders so far. I mean, but then the same token, what else is there? I mean, you got to feel good. You got to try to put some things going back. So running back situations really quickly here. We have a couple of big win names here. Saquon Barkley to the Eagles, which that whole thing was just wild with him and Tiki Barber, I do believe.
Yeah. Tiki Barber was out of line.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you're dead to me. Like,
I'd love to get TJ's thoughts on this. But I thought it was a bitch move, dude.
I just don't understand it. I mean, and to Saquon's point, he's like, you were never high on me when I got here anyway. Like, whatever. Like, don't smile when you see me in public. I personally agree. And for fans as well, guys, as much as we want our teams to stay together, we have to realize that this is a business, right? You can be loyal to a point, but it's a business, and you have to be looking out for what's best for you, what's best for your family. And just because a player changes teams doesn't mean that they should be dead to you. I mean, I have a wall over here, and if you can see it, like I have Javier Baez, Chris Bryant. There's a Justin Fields who's probably not going to play for them as well. I still love my KB. I still love Javi. Anthony Rizzo's over there. They're all on different teams after they won the World Series. I mean, what's that?
What?
What'd you say?
I said, you got to stop buying jerseys.
Well, I will tell you this. So after the Justin Fields debacle, right? I said to my wife, no more jerseys unless they're legends. That's it.
Yeah, I did that after Dwight Howard. I told my wife, I go, you can't get me anything unless they.
But I will take the Chris Bryant, the Javi Baez, and the Rizzos. Those are all still very important to me. That was the first World Series in 108 years that they brought to the city of Chicago. And, at the time, we were all upset because they went other places. Well, let me tell you, what has Chris Bryant done in Colorado other than ride the bench for being hurt? Javi Baez has probably had one of the biggest falls from grace that we've ever seen. And then, obviously, Anthony Rizzo is still trucking, but he's still not the formidable force that he used to be. So, all of those. I still think, but yes, to your point, definitely. So, Saquon to the Eagles, I don't know. Everybody's like, well, this obviously makes them an immediate contender. I do believe behind that offensive line, he is going to feast. We'll just have to see what happens. We already talked about Josh Jacobs going to the Green Bay Packers, Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens, which we talked about a little bit. Obviously, Derrick Henry's just Derrick Henry. He's going to improve that team. Tony Pollard going to the Tennessee Titans. Austin Eckler to the Commanders that we talked about, and we already talked about Devontae Smith. Devin Singletary to the Giants. Gus Edwards, former Ravens. Now, who's the rookie Ravens that got hurt?
J.K. Dobbins.
He was the one that got hurt? No.
Are you talking about Mitchell?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a great pairing. That guy was so explosive, man.
Well, they still have J.K. Dobbins. I mean,
and they have the rookie. So I mean, they got a pretty deep field. AJ Dillon's still not signed. Zach Moss with the Bengals. I actually loved that one from him.
I think Antonio Gibson might be interesting in Tampa.
Yeah, I mean Antonio Gibson to the Patriots. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, like free agent. Yeah. DJ Dallas to the Cardinals. 3 years, $8.25 million each. Or 8.25
total.
And then real quick here, any of those running backs that caught your eye there? I think that those are all pretty standard.
I mean, listen, and the Saquon thing obviously went to Penn State. He's got local ties there as well, so it's always been a thing. And the thing for Tiki Barber is like Saquon came in, was the face of that franchise for many, many years, rode that franchise on his back over and over and over again, pounded the rock, touched the ball 30 times a game sometimes, and willed them to victory in some instances. And then you're going to tell me that now the Giants didn't show him the love that he felt that should, or the respect that he deserves. And then you're going to call him a sellout, and like, come on, bro. Like,
I think for 10 or 11 million, I think that's rocks, a bonehead move.
You know, like kick rocks, dude.
But I mean, as we've talked about, you know, we've seen this numerous times. The valuation of running back in the NFL is just not much anymore. It's just not much anymore. Yeah,
for sure.
It's in shambles.
I know people love the Derrick Henry move. I think that's probably the biggest one. I thought Derrick Henry would have been really good in Dallas. I don't know why I just had him pictured with a star on his helmet. I don't know about the Baltimore thing. In theory, I understand that it looks good, but I feel like you can just really stack 9 in the box. Like if you know that.
Well, I think that's the point, right? So you stack 9 in the box. And then you have the play action or the fake to Henry, and then that frees up the pass game a little bit more. I guess that's
every year that we get into the playoffs, where do we have a problem with our friend Lamar Jackson?
In the pass game. That's what's wild to me, bro. If you look at Justin Fields' numbers from last year and compare them to Lamar Jackson, the MVP, they're not far off, dude. That's what's wild about the NFL. Yeah, and they just fell flat on their face in the playoffs. And to your point, I don't think that Derrick Henry is just all of a sudden like, okay, we have Derrick Henry. That shit's not going to happen anymore. I don't know.
And for me, it's also the replacement of Derrick Henry, right? So you lost Patrick Queen because you're paying Derrick Henry. You know, is it worth it for Patrick Queen to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers for you to have Derrick Henry in your backfield? For me, it's not. That's not something that if I was an NFL GM, that's not something that I would be okay with. I would want to have the defense. And like you said, we still have J.K. Dobbins. We still have Mitchell. Go get a bruiser. Go get an A.J. Dillon if you want somebody to be able to get goal line work. Like, who cares? Go get a Jamal Williams, you know, who was unbelievable in Detroit and also was pretty good in, you know, New Orleans last year. I just, it seems like almost an embarrassment of riches just because you can. But I feel like where you're falling off from by doing it makes it not worth it to me. That's my only issue.
We'll see. It's definitely an interesting piece for sure. The wide receiver market has been
real quick, but before you move on, there was one thing that was super sneaky that we didn't really touch on terms of running backs, and that was Joe Mixon going to the Houston Texans.
Love that. Oh, actually, yeah, we did talk about that. We talked about
that. Was via trade. For all you fantasy guys out there, and I know we all are, but I really do feel like that is a guy who you can target in middle rounds who can win you leagues. I truly believe that behind that offensive line, in that offense, the amount of passes that he catches, the amount of times that CJ Stroud will now have that outlet to be able to go to and trust. I think Joe Mixon could have a really, really good year next year. And if you look at the other things that they did as well, too, Danielle Hunter on the outside, they signed for a couple years. Azeez Al-Shaair as well, too. Really, really good. Danico Autry, Foley Fatukasi was really good last year as well, too. And then Jeff Okudah, right? That secondary now with Stingley and Okudah and King, like they are building something there in Houston. A very interesting team next year.
Yeah, I mean, as I said in the group chat, if CJ Stroud can continue his performance, which we all know the second year is really tough after a great rookie year, because like we've said numerous times, the film is out, right? We've had a whole year of your film to dissect you, to see what you're good at, to see how we can stop you. If he can replicate that performance at any capacity, 80% capacity, to your point, I think the Texans are going to have an amazing year. And you think about, there was a couple games that they lost there that were pretty egregious. They lost one to the Carolina Panthers last year. And they had a couple more of one-score games, but they also had a couple games where they absolutely went crazy in the fourth quarter and did some shit that probably is not going to happen again to get some of those wins. So it's a very, very interesting team going into next year.
Getting cried.
So as we were saying, the wide receiver market hasn't been as robust as crazy that the running backs were flying off the shelves, but the wide receiver market is pretty wide open still. T. Higgins was franchised by the Cincinnati Bengals, and then of course he requested a trade, as Jeff said in the pre-show, that this is probably more of a power move to get the long-term deal done. You know, when you're looking at somebody that's going to be one of the top paid wide receivers, and you also have Jamar Chase that you're going to have to pay as well. I mean, and you just paid Joe Burrow. This is where, again, where we start talking about, you know, these contracts is going to start eating into that salary cap. And I don't have the Bengals salary cap in front of me. I said that I would love for the Bears to get T. Higgins. I thought that would have been a great compliment to DJ Moore. Probably it's a no-brainer. And to Jeff's point at the pre-show, I still think that this deal gets done. I think that they're going to figure it out to make sure that he stays with the Cincinnati Bengals. Because, I mean, with those weapons, one that is not signed, though, and I don't think is Tyler Boyd. I think Tyler Boyd drops off here, and T. Higgins gets his money.
Calvin Ridley's still out there as well, too. You got
Hollywood Brown.
DJ Shark, Odell Beckham
Curtis
Jr.,
Samuel.
Although him and Kim Kardashian are now officially official.
Who?
So I think Odell Beckham.
Oh, God. The circus continues.
So buyer beware.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel still out there. DJ Chalk, Michael Thomas, Josh Reynolds, KJ Osborne, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Byron Pringle, my boy Chase Claypool out there. Not my boy. One of the ones, though, Gabe Davis did sign with the Jacksonville Jaguars, 3 years, $39 million. Apparently, it had been leaked that the Chicago Bears had offered the same amount, and he chose to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars anyway. So, I think that's also a red flag to me when it comes to Chicago, because if I'm Gabe Davis, right, and I'm getting ready to sign a 3-year, $39 million deal, whatever it is, and I sit in front of that room and I say, well, who's going to be my quarterback? And the Chicago Bears say, we don't know yet. Going to Jacksonville. I know that Trevor Lawrence, what kind of quarterback he is, regardless of what organization would it. I know what kind of quarterback he is. I don't know. Is it going to be Justin Fields? Is it going to be Caleb? Is it going to be somebody else? I think that that's more of a red flag again, that the Chicago Bears are just not tipping their hand at any point, because I would have to think that has to be a conversation as a wide receiver free agent, correct? I mean, if I'm going in to sign with your team, who is my quarterback going to be?
Yeah, I agree with Gabe Davis's decision here. Obviously, it sucks for Calvin Ridley, but listen, they still have Zay Jones, Gabe Davis now. You're looking at Christian Kirk on the outside. I saw Matthew Berry say that this is a downgrade for Gabe Davis, which I think is insane to say. He said that he's going to a worse quarterback and having more of a target share problem, which I guess Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence. Well,
I mean, we can say talent-wise, I think that we can agree that they're pretty much on the same thing, but for whatever reason, Josh Allen has had better success.
I will say this. I would rather not start Gabe Davis and hope for Gabe Davis to do well and have Josh Allen never target him. You know what I mean? Like how many times did Gabe Davis put up a 0? Like I think there was multiple weeks where he just wasn't targeted in a row.
Well, you also got Stephon Diggs over there bitching about his targets and not getting the ball enough. So I mean, yeah.
So I just I don't know. For me, it just it is what it is. But anyway, moving on.
Last thing before we bring in the boys here, Aaron Rodgers back in the news here. Not necessarily what you think. Apparently, Mr. Kennedy has approached Mr. Rodgers about being a vice president candidate on the ticket. And watching Greedy absolutely melt down this morning about this was absolutely great. Absolutely great. That. And they brought I love Greedy, man. And big Justin Fields guy, by the way. Watching him, right? They're like, imagine you're Robert Saleh, right? You're coaching for your life. You signed it. You guys put all your chips in Aaron Rodgers. He goes down as, the fourth snap. Okay, so now you're sitting in this room and you're planning out your strategies of how you're going to keep your job, how you're going to be competitive, and all of a sudden you get a knock on the door. I need to talk to you. No, we're in the middle. No, I need to talk to you. No, we're in the middle of something. No, you need to stop. What? Aaron Rodgers is a potential vice presidential candidate. And watching all these guys, Louis Riddick, everybody react like, how would you? People, they're just throwing the papers up in the air. They're like, that's it. We're out. It's like the George Costanza. I'm out of here. I mean, what a circus, man. What a circus. I'm not saying that he's not a good candidate because, I mean, based on what we have, a decrepit old man and a loudmouth that pisses everybody off, probably the better choices of all of them. But my goodness, dude, could you imagine, hey, I can't make it to practice today. I got a vice president session.
Sorry, I have a debate that I have to go get into. So I don't think this will actually happen. I think Aaron will wait till football is officially over, but I'm sure he could be spurned into politics. He always has a very strong opinion on things, and I'm sure he thinks that the way that things are going right now need to change. So listen, he's entitled to his opinion and his prerogative. That's what makes this country such a great country, is that, you can have, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris debating, RFK and Aaron Rodgers, and, here we are. So God bless America.
God bless America. Well, speaking of God bless America, one of the best Americans with the American flag in the breakdown. That's right. It is the 3-time.
By the way, speaking of America, I did watch Oppenheimer yesterday.
Pretty good.
Phenomenal. I thought.
Yeah, pretty good.
I don't know if either of you have seen it, but
I did. I watched it. It was a pretty good flick. Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's on Peacock for free. So if you get 3 hours of your life, it literally
is long. By.
It's long, but me and Amanda turn to each other. We go, holy shit, it's 11:15 right now. What's going on? It's really good. I definitely highly recommend it.
Well, with that being said, we did bring in the 3-time here. He's going to take it over for myself. I am headed down to Orlando, downtown, to watch the Magic take on the Brooklyn Nets with the wife. We got a little bit of a staycation going on over here.
Isn't that at like 7:00 tonight?
Yep. But we're going over to the JW, and we're going to have a nice relaxing day by the pool.
The JW?
Yes.
My JW?
No. The Ritz JW.
Oh, you wanted the Ritz. Okay.
Yeah. So we can utilize that service, be weighted on hand and foot, and be in a nice, relaxed state before we go down and, watch the Orlando Magic beat up on the Brooklyn Nets.
Enjoy your massage.
Thank you. Everybody, have a good day. The boys are coming in. These guys are going to take over. We'll talk to you later, man.
Jeremy, you want to go ahead and add Chad?
I am adding Chad right now. Chad,
what up, bro?
Is on.
How we doing, guys?
I'm doing good. Hey, Chad, I got to step away for about 60 seconds, and I'll be right back. So Jeremy's just going to take over, and you guys are going to, do what you do, if that's okay.
Oh, darn.
Wow.
Good morning, Chad. How are we doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. Well, like we talked about last night, we knew this was going to be a long show. These guys love to chop it up and continue to push our Gap Wedge Wednesday back, but we are here. Speaking of, let's do a quick little recap from last week. The Arnold Palmer. It was definitely a good time down at Bay Hill Country Club and Lodge. We talked about this last night. The picks that we had, we had some good names up there, some guys that looked like they were going to do some things. you know, Scotty Scheffler, we knew he was going to be up there, and he didn't disappoint. What's your takeaway from the Arnold Palmer?
I mean, it was exactly what we thought. If the mallet putter worked for him, then he was going to win. He pretty much was just average putter, and he won by 5 strokes. So, he's the best player in the world right now. There's no doubting it after what he showed us. So, if Scotty's got a putter, then he's pretty much unbeatable. So
I was going to say that was a lot of the sentiment from some of the players is, he's the number 1 player in the world. He hasn't been able to putt, and he said that this week he did something that a lot of us need to do in standing over a putt, especially Jeff when it's a 2.5-foot birdie putt. It's get out of your own head. He said he stopped thinking.
Yeah,
and that's easier said than done. Stop thinking, and he ran away with it. Paul's in here as well. Morning, Paul. We see you there. Moving forward, we say we don't like to take all the favorites. You don't like to take chalk all the time. Is Scotty Scheffler going to be the play coming up for the next month or so with the big tournaments that are coming up?
I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't be. It's one thing though is we can look back on is that it did take him 51 weeks to win again after he won the Players last year. So maybe we can find a couple of hot golfers that can compete with him and hopefully get lucky. So.
Well, Paul, morning. Welcome. What was your takeaway of the Arnold Palmer? Minus the whole Scotty Scheffler running the field.
Yeah, basically the same. Tough course. Take him away, and you got a pretty tight field. Condensed leaderboard. So pretty much what we expected.
Yeah, I think it's tough, especially when you get the rain overnight too. And it's like it kind of softens up a little bit where you have a guy who is literally probably the greatest ball striker since Tiger Woods, right? Who now gets to go out and kind of throw darts. And when he's putting like that, what are you going to do,
You're going to play for second.
You're going to play for second. That's exactly right. Well, looking ahead, obviously, we do have the Players' Championship coming up this week, which is normally considered the toughest field in all of golf. Can we still call it that, though? I mean, not really, right? Not without. I mean, the majors now have to be
Name me a stronger field.
Well, any of the majors. Any of the majors.
The majors have 17, 20 guys in the field that have
amateurs.
Yeah, but the
Michael
majors,
Block.
Okay. See, and this is where we're going to disagree because the majors, the top part of the majors are way better than what we're looking at here. If you're going to add in the top guys from Live, if you're talking about adding in John Rahm and Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka and Bryson, Patrick, Cam Smith, I mean, come on, you can't say that this is the toughest field in golf and not one of those majors.
Well, I forgot about those guys.
You're asking 2 different questions.
In what sense?
You're saying, is this the strongest field in golf? Yes. Are all of the best players in the world in this field? No. 2 different questions.
How?
There are no bottom feeders in this one.
Okay.
So the Masters, who's going to tee it up at the Masters this year? 15 guys you've never heard of.
Well, there's going to be a bunch of amateurs as well, too, that are allowed to get in there as well.
Yep. U.S. Open qualifiers, guys who have,
past champions.
But guys who can actually
PGA
win.
Tour round. This is the Players. This is the Players Championship. Still, pound for pound, strongest field in golf.
Okay.
Is Larry Mize playing in the Masters this year? I think he's got a good shot.
It's Bernard Longer's last year. I know that much.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah. So.
Okay. I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think the top heaviness of all those Live guys being added should definitely be factored in.
But I don't. That it changes nothing about the strength of the entire field. You're for every John Rahm you put in, I'm going to put in 2 amateurs who aren't going to break 80. This one doesn't have those guys. So are the best players in the world, are all of the best players in the world playing in this event? No.
Taylor Gooch is missing it. Jesus.
Yeah, but there's not going to be. So the Masters, we will see 30 of the top 30. Okay.
So speaking of how many players we have in this event, how many do we have?
How many players are in this field? Let me look.
Isn't it the normal 156?
Looks like 145.
Cool. So 145 players in this field. Are there any trends that we have that we've seen previous years for the way that things kind of break down in terms of tee times or anything like that?
Not a single one. Definitely not one that was shared 15 times through our group chat. I was going to lose it. Like, yeah, we've seen that.
Okay, wonderful. So who do we like to this week going into the Players' Championship? What are we looking at in terms of length of course, and what kind of course was designed with it, Paul?
It's Sawgrass. So the Players' Championship, for anybody who's never watched a day of golf in their life, the Players' Championship is held at the TPC Sawgrass Stadium course in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. That's a nice way of saying Jacksonville. And it is par 72. It's 7,275 yards. The greens are not enormous, 5,500 square feet. A lot of water on this course. Famous Island Green, number 17. It is 17, right?
Yeah.
I just had that thing where you like forget your spouse's birthday. Like you're like, I know your birthday. It's this day, right? The greens on the fact sheet say Poet Trivials overseed. That's just the time of year. They're Bermuda. Yeah. Penal Rough. 120 acres of Penal Rough. 26 acres of fairway. A lot of bunkers. This is the 3rd of 4 straight weeks in Florida. This will be the 6th of the first 10 tournaments with POA greens this year. So the last 2 weeks in Florida were on Bermuda greens. Next week's Valspar Championship will be on POA as well. Again, they're Florida. It's the POA Trivials, so they have to classify it as POA. It's the normal Florida greens that we're used to seeing. Same with Valspar. It's not going to be 14 and running like Bay Hill, but these are Florida greens.
It'll still be close.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, and little smaller greens, lots of water. Chad, what kind of models are we looking for? What's trending right now besides the what time your tee time is on Thursday and Friday?
Well, what we're looking at here is with it being shorter, all the dog legs, everything like that. It's going to be a positional course, what we call less than driver off the tee a lot of the time, because you can't just get out there and bomb it, because you got to be in certain spots so you can have a shot at the green to where you want to find yourself putting from, because there's different levels of on the greens. So you want to be in the right area to be able to make some birdies, and a lot of guys are going to miss them. So the short game is going to be key also this week. And like Paul said, you don't want to be in the rough. It's penal. So, and it says in the groundskeeper guide that it's 18 holes. All 18 holes have a thread of water, but it's really like only about 15 or 16 that people might actually find the water if they have an errant tee shot or errant approach. So you definitely want to keep guys like patent desire that always seems to find the water. If there is some, you want to stay away from those guys.
Ryan Palmer.
So,
guys
yes,
like
Ryan
us.
Palmer's another. Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Gotcha. So, who's, going into it, Scotty Scheffler, obviously overwhelming favorite. What I've got is he's plus 500 to win. I mean, that's not gonna, if he putts like he did last week, once again, they're playing for second. But who are some of the other top guys that we're looking at to start, Paul?
So other guys who finished in the top of our model, Scotty's 1-1. So both of our main model and then our concentrated model. He's again leaps and bounds ahead of everyone. So take your outrights lightly this week. Look for your placement plays, some matchup plays, everything else. I've already put a bet in for Scotty this week. I know it's crazy short, but is what it is. Other guys up at the top, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, and no, those two are fine. Just at the top. We'd be sneaking into the middle with the next few guys. So, yeah, Xander Schauffele and Justin Thomas at the top.
It's the Rory's picked second right now, but a lot of people are saying fade him. Why are we talking about fading Rory this week?
I would say because he can't really, his irons are off right now. But I mean, like Paul said, I wouldn't fade him. He's just, I don't see the value in him. Like 13-1. I can't see him winning.
Not in our wheelhouse that we like to pick. Well, then, Chad, then who was with those top guys? Who are some of the mid-level guys that we're looking at to possibly get us some great value?
Guy that plays here very well, Hideki Matsuyama. Also, one thing you're looking at right now for the players is that one of the trends is you're going to be in form right now. So you want guys that have been playing well the last month or so. Hideki's definitely qualified up there. He played
Good
very well
showing on
last
Sunday.
year. Last week at Bay Hill, he played well. He won the Genesis. So, he's playing very well right now. Another guy, Russell Henley, guy that keeps it in the fairway all the time. Great approach. Not the best putter, but if he can find some rolling in, then he has a good shot here, I believe. Another guy that's going to be closer to the top, Will Zalatoris. Apparently, it looks like he's back from his back injury or back surgery that he had. His ball striking last week was unbelievable. He just lost a few off the tee at the end there on Saturday and Sunday. So if you do that at Bay Hill, you're screwed. So there's nothing you can really do about that.
Is that indicative to his back injury, though? I mean, is that showing that he can't play a full 4 rounds?
No, I think he's kind of erring off the tee if he's not hitting it right. But he's one of those guys that he's known for his ball striking. That's his iron play it was incredible before he got injured. And I saw an interview. He said his swing has changed a little, so it takes a little pressure off of his back. But he's starting to get the feel of where he was back then, like with his new swing. So he's heating up, and he'll be winning again soon. I feel he's got a major in him the next couple of years. A couple more guys that we like to talk about every time because they're just great golfers. They've got the game for it. And I don't know how the numbers are still so high, but Sahith Theegala, he's sitting at 50, 60-1, something like that. He's good enough to win. He's got the full game. So this is what you're gonna need here. You're gonna be able to hit the fairways, certain spots, positional course, and then have an approach in and be able to knock down some putts.
Paul, who's maybe a couple more guys that you've got in yours that you like in the middle?
Yeah, Zalatoris is definitely a guy I was looking at. I'd show him at 30. I think that's a great number for the form that he's in. We have a few other guys that kind of creep into the longer shots. Adam Scott models out well. I don't know if Adam Scott has a win in him, but the way he's playing right now, plays well in these conditions, played well at this course before. Didn't have his best week last week, missed the cut, but prior to that was playing, pretty good form. Finished 71 here last year, made the cut at 90-1 or 80-1, wherever you've seen him, might be worth something small. Again, we're going against a mountain, so these are all kind of longer shots. Cam Davis is another guy who I always like. Plays less than driver course as well. Can get streaky hot with the putter. He's right around there. And then Wyndham Clark is 50-1 somehow, major winner. Really good form right now. Looks good in our model. He's in top 20 in both. Couple long, like 100 or better. Seabez, Christian Bezadenhout. Feel like we bring his name up a lot. But again, less than driver course, accuracy off the tee, ball striking. He can put something together where I'm seeing him at 130 right now. Maybe a top 20 bet if the number's right. And then a guy who plays well here and seems to be, I don't know, I haven't seen his name on the top of a lot of leaderboards, but Doug Gim is a familiar name to us and shows out on our models this week.
Doug Gim.
Chad, you got anybody long?
Yeah, Chad was going to say anybody that's the longer odds. I'm surprised we haven't talked about one of our other champions that we hit on last year, Brian Harmon, who's been having a good run. I've seen a couple models where things that I look at that they said that he's going to have a good week.
Well, 3-time. I don't know why you asked me and then take the words out of my mouth. But Brian Harmon is a kind of a Pete Dye specialist. He ranks 3rd in our Pete Dye model, right behind Scotty Scheffler and Keegan Bradley for 24 rounds. So you can back Brian Harmon, I feel like. Definitely get a top 10 or top 20 out of him this week. Another guy, I said Keegan also. He's another guy that's at 3 of his last 5 times playing here has top 20s. So I feel like he's another guy you could back. He didn't play very well at Bay Hill, but he's a guy that lives in Jupiter now, plays Florida courses pretty well. Another guy that he doesn't have a lot of history here. He hasn't played a lot here, but I feel like this is the guy that's turning things around. Nick Taylor, he just won the Waste Management this last year. And there's been 3 guys in the last 10 years that have won both the Players and the Waste Management. So I feel like there's a good correlation there. And Tom Hogue is another guy you want to probably look at. He was 3rd here last year. He's a great ball striker. Not the greatest putter, but I feel like he's a guy that if he gets hot on the greens, he has a good shot to play well here. And then I was going through the numbers a minute ago, and there's 3 guys that I just cannot believe the numbers I'm seeing for them. Tony Finau, it's like they forgot he knows how to play golf, is at 60-1 in a field like this. He's not playing none of these guys are playing very well right now, but just the numbers that they're showing, you might be able to get a good value on a top 20 or something. Maybe sprinkle a little bit on the outright. But like I said, Finau at 60. Matthew Fitzpatrick at 70. He actually is a pretty decent Pete Dye course record. But but it's 70-1 is kind of crazy. And then Ricky Fowler is at 100-1. He's a guy that he's won here. He's won at Waste Management, just like the correlation I was talking about. But 100-1. I mean, maybe there's the week that these guys can show up, and you're getting great value at those guys. So if you want to dabble a little bit on those three, you know, I wouldn't hate you for doing it.
Those are some good long odds, but like you said, you know, we're also talking to the guy that hit the Puerto Rican Open, you know, with your little 150-1. So, you know, I think we should listen to what you guys say. How about some first round leaders, some FRLs, anybody that starts out hot here at on this course at Sawgrass?
I would definitely throw some money on Hideki. He likes to start off hot. What was it? The year COVID stopped the players. He was like 10 under on day one, I believe. Yeah. Something like that. Keegan, he's another guy that likes to start off hot. Maybe throw some Seabez money. Who else is there? Paul, you got anybody?
Hoagie has the course record.
Yeah, Hogue.
I think. I believe he shot 62 in round 3 last year.
I feel like I don't mind that Finau one too, right?
Yeah, and we've mentioned this before, is the guys that we're talking about to play well at the course, there's not a guy who's like, we think he's going to go out and shoot 63 on Thursday and then miss the cut. So the guys that we've mentioned already, you know, depending on their FRL odds, you're probably going to get better numbers for them to play well on Thursday. So yeah, just about anybody who's been mentioned here, I don't really think I don't have a list of another guy that I'm only going to bet on Thursday. You know what I'm saying?
I'll tell you what, too, if you watch the Netflix full
Oh
swing,
my God.
No, I was just gonna say I will be a Keegan Bradley fan for the rest of my life. I always knew about Keegan, but just watching the pain that man went through, and how much he wanted to be on that Ryder Cup team and wasn't able to. I'm always gonna root for that guy now. I know you guys have been following golf a lot longer than I have, but it was. What are you gonna say, Paul?
Yeah, 3 episodes. I watched 3 episodes of season 2, all the ones surrounding the Ryder Cup. And that scene with Keegan getting the phone call, oof, it may have gotten dusty in the room. That's all I'm gonna say.
It was tough, dude. My wife's looking at me. I'm like, you don't even understand.
Yeah,
leave me alone. You know what I mean?
His kids are there. Like,
God, his kid's bouncing the ball to him, and his wife is like crumbling as she hears it, and like, you know, it was.
You are not the father.
I mean, it was.
Yeah, that was tough. Anyway, so for that reason alone, I feel like, I don't know, I'm just always gonna root for Keegan, and hopefully he one day makes it back to the ability to be selected to that Ryder Cup team. I really root for him.
All right, well, let's
just for fact check purposes, Hideki shot 9 under, so he tied the course record of 63 in the first round in 2020, and then they were like,
and then Hogue beat it last year.
Yes.
Got it.
Yep.
Well, looking back at the players that we've got, of course, you got Scotty Scheffler up top, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, the top picks that aren't going to get you the value. But some of the value guys, we got Hideki Matsuyama, Russell Henley, Will Zalatoris, sorry, Sahith Theegala, Adam Scott, Cam Davis, Wyndham Clark. Some of our long shots, Seabez, Doug Gim, Brian Harmon, Keegan Bradley, the hero, Nick Taylor, Tom Hogue, and then for some long shots, you've got Tony Finau, Matt Fitzpatrick, Ricky Fowler, and then our FRLs, Hideki, Keegan, Seabez, Tom Hogue. Those guys like to go out fast. So just a quick recap.
Hey, really quick before I let you guys go, just we mentioned Wyndham Clark, and he had some very poignant comments about the 100 player fields that he think would be better for the PGA Tour. I thought it was a little off base, just coming from a guy who finally just broke through after so many years on tour. previously, but I don't. Your thoughts on shrinking the field to 100 players each.
Chad, you want to go first?
I don't know.
I don't really have much on it. I mean, it's just these guys that are arrogant and think that they're better than everyone else and qualified to do whatever they think. They can just talk about things that they really probably have no idea what they're talking about. That's the way I look at it. Like, these guys are there to play. Kind of like someone said to LeBron one day, shut up and play. Just you don't really need to talk about it. It's not your call, so
yeah.
Just go out and play golf. Do what you're supposed to do.
Paul, anything you got?
Yeah, in the history of the interest of healthy debate, I think I see where he's coming from, and I sort of agree. I think the 100 is an arbitrary number,
right? Just
but you have the invitationals that are 120 guys, right? So the API was 120, now it's down to 69 or whatever it is. The Genesis, the Memorial were 120 with a regular cut, and those were some of the more elite fields outside of the majors and the players, these things. I don't think that Wyndham Clark saying the tour ideally should be 100 guys means he thinks only 100 guys should play pro golf. I think there is a next level, and Scotty Scheffler is the best player in the world right now. I don't think there's much of an argument, but there is a debate now as to who the top 5 are, and a lot of lists include guys who are playing on the Live Tour.
Mm-hmm.
So John Rahm, Brooks Koepka.
Sure.
When it comes time for majors, those guys are going to be skinny odds.
Yeah.
Would it be better to have all the best players, the top 100, the top 120, whatever it is, playing week to week or every other week together, and then have additional events like, Puerto Rico? Some of us paid attention to it. So who was playing?
Oh, I was sweating all 4 of those playoff holes.
Well, there you go. But that's my point, is some of us are going to watch the alternate field events. Those guys who win the alternate field events have a chance to get up into the top 100, the top 120. And the ones that don't play as well go back and try to get back into it. So your top 30 players, like look at Justin Thomas last year, didn't make the playoffs. So if we pick the number of 70, Thomas isn't in the top fields.
Well, that's the question too. Are you going to not allow Tiger to play in some of these events? Like if Tiger wants to play, you're going to tell him, no, you got to go qualify now.
Well,
hey, Monday qualifier, 5 rounds instead of 4.
To a degree. And then, or does every event have 4 sponsor exemptions where you just invite the Anthony Kims of the world,
right?
And Tiger Woods, and Webb Simpson's been playing in these events. He's not in the top 100 right now that I'm aware of. I'd have to double check the rankings.
There's no way he is.
Week to week, we're having debates on, is the official world golf ranking even valid?
Mm-hmm.
Well, to a degree, it is a record of how people who participate in 72 hole events that fit certain criteria have performed. If you don't do those things, you don't get put on the record. So if you're not participating in those events, Neiman just won or played really well in an Asian Tour event. The official world golf rankings was recorded for those rounds. But because the strength of the field was not the best, his ranking didn't improve as much as maybe some would think it should. So putting the best players on the course at the same time is ultimately the goal. That's what all the players want. And when you do that, there'll be more eyeballs. When there's more eyeballs, there's more revenue. When there's more revenue, everybody makes more money. that's ultimately what these guys want. So I think when Rory, Wyndham, when they're talking about making the fields or the what the product is better for the consumer, they're not just talking about, you know, me sitting on the couch watching golf. They're talking about if more people consume, there's more advertising and they get paid more. So I can't fault two of the best players in the world for saying we would like to improve the product, because we're selling ourselves. You know what I mean? It's like, that's so I'd love to see it. And I'd love to see a secondary event every week as well. It gives us more to bet on. Who doesn't want that?
Fair enough.
I like that part.
Listen, we do appreciate you guys stopping in, always sharing your knowledge, and hopefully we get some winners going on this week again as well too. Thank you guys so much, Chad. Hopefully when we talk next week, the Cowboys will have done something in free agency, but we will see.
They signed a loan.
We're just gonna build through the draft. Yeah, you know, it's
on your all-in year. Your all-in year.
Yeah, all in.
Really attack the draft.
Hey, it'll all be worth it as long as they draft Jonathan Brooks. It'll all be worth it.
Okay, all right.
It'll be the next stud out of Texas.
If not, what was the movie Little Giants, where they played the Al Bundy's Cowboys in that game, and I mean I'm sure the memes will go wild with Deuce Vaughn playing running back for you guys. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe I'll go sign up.
All right, boys. Appreciate you. You guys have a good one. Hopefully I'll be over this flu in the next few days, and I'll be able to see you out sometime this weekend.
Get well soon.
Thanks, bro.
See you guys later.
Good luck, y'all.
Good luck.
Thanks, fellas. Oh, well, that was a show.
Yeah, sorry. There's a lot going on here. I got some baby problems and flu problems, and it's, you know.
And just think, Friday starts spring break for you.
I'm more okay with that, because I don't got to run around, pick kids up. They can help out while they're here. They're really good helpers, so I'm cool with that.
They are. I've seen it firsthand. Well, excellent. Well, Jeffrey, I think that's gonna wrap that one up for today. Nice hour and 42-minute long show. So what's going
on over there?
Alexa just decided to turn on for some reason. I don't know why.
I thought there was a woman in your background.
Oh no, there we go. Yeah, no, that was Alexa. That's the only woman in my life right now. Don't worry.
I'm thinking, what we should do is we should just break this up into two podcasts, like because it's going to be going up on Spotify soon, right? And then we could just have the first half and cut it off, and then second half Gap Wedge Wednesday.
Definitely something we can look into.
Listen, I hope everybody has a great weekend. Be great.
Enjoy the players. Have a good weekend. It's supposed to be great weather there. Great weather here in Orlando. Jeffrey, get better. And even though Tyson's not here, I will remind you people, and I'm sick of it as well. If you're out there driving, stay out of the left-hand lane, please.
Especially
for the love of God. Especially in Florida. Thanks, guys. See you next week.